Hey everybody, coming to you again, new video. I just came today. I thought about it. We have another pretty day in the upper 60s and it's sunny, so it feels a little bit warmer than that. But I wanted to come out and I just have such a great time with my different 3 boas now that I have, and I want to highlight, of course, my first one, and this is Manny, my male Nicaraguan boa. And I had him out last night, and he's just always, I said blow my mind, but I just have such a good experience with Manny, and I just wanted to highlight his awesomeness today from my experience last night. Such a wonderful snake. This is probably my best snake that I've ever owned, and I've owned snakes since I was probably 9 years old, and I'm 53 now, so I've owned snakes many years. And so what's cool about Manny in the last night's experiences, I wanted to take him out. I hadn't seen him in a couple of days, and I took his top off and looked at him, lifted up his hide box that I have for him, or his hide oil catch tray, and that's in a video that I've posted that I turned into a hide. But he's never, I say that loosely because my memory, 2 years, and there might be one time he hissed at me or struck at me when he was little. But I bought Manny as a little bitty baby, probably a month old. And I've had him for almost his entire life. But I reach in, I grab him, and I'm never, ever worried. Maybe I should be a little bit more, but concerned about being bit or struck at or hissed at. He just doesn't do it. He's like impossible to make angry or upset or, feel threatened. And it's just an amazing snake. His little personality is just top of the list. And I've had a few really great snakes. I had a Burmese python that I bought that was about 3 feet long when I got that python, Burmese python, and it grew up to about 9 feet before I had to kind of get rid of him or her. I'm not sure. I think it was a he. But that was a pretty nice snake. But I got bit by that snake once, and it was really bad. My fault. I had food in my hands, and the snake was going for the food and got my hand, and that was pretty brutal, getting that snake off. But wonderful snake too, but this one is just going to be smaller. It's a dwarf boa, and it's just really tame. I have zero fear. When you get a larger snake, there is some fear, and you even if you have a nice snake, you really need to be cautious because that can turn into a very bad situation. With Manny, I have little of that fear because he's going to stay smaller. But I took him out, or I want to share with you, that's kind of the cool point of the video, is that I took him out, and he has his own little closet, so he can roam around in his closet. And a few hours, I like to let him out because they climb all over and they get exercise. Being stuck in a tub, it's just miserable. It pisses me off when I see that. People that raise snakes in tubs, and they're in the tubs their entire lives. Or a breeder has 100 or 500 snakes in tubs. It's just not a way for any animal or any creature or any human to grow up inside of a small space. So even though these are in terrariums, larger terrariums, with logs and water bowls and hides and dirt, substrate, moss, rocks, I let them out and let them roam and stretch out and climb. They don't just stay on a flat surface. They do a lot of climbing and exercising. A lot of the climbing is more the exercise that a snake needs to get. And so I let him out. I let him out for a couple hours, and then I was in bed, and I was like, I need to put him up, just just so nothing happens, over the night. And he wasn't ready to go back in his cage. And that's the thing about Manny, is he grabs on really tightly. And I've discussed this in other videos, that he didn't want to go to bed. And this happens all the time. I need to put him up in his cage, man, and he just starts squirming around like a little child, watching TV at late night, and you're like, it's time for bed, come on. You pick them up, and they're no, 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 they're flapping their arms and their legs, and you throw them over your shoulder, and they're hitting you in the back and the butt, and they're screaming. This is what this snake does. It gets all really unhappy that he knows I'm putting him up, and his tail starts flopping around. It starts grabbing everything. And then when his tail wraps around something, then I'm having to try to undo his tail, and then his head wraps around something. And it turns into a 5-minute task, turns into like a 25-minute task. And so last night I was kind of like, okay, you're clearly don't want to go to bed. I'm going to set my alarm for about another hour in case I fall asleep. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to get you. And I said, well, we're going to go to bed after that. So then I set my alarm, and my alarm went off, and he was... I leave his cage top cracked, and he had a little bit of his tail hanging out of his cage, and he was in his cage, inside his cage. And so I was like, okay, that works out really, really well. That's awesome. I can do that. So he comes out of his cage on his own, and he goes back in his cage on his own. And that's really, really cool. Manny is very, very intelligent. I think they all are. Most of these types of snakes, maybe not a garter snake, but boas and pythons and some of the larger snakes, they got to just be a little bit more intelligent because they're larger and they have more to deal with. But then I got a surprise too. Because I hadn't seen him in a few days. I guess he was in there and he was, transforming to do his shed, and I didn't even have a clue. And so I went up top to move a log out, because I have logs in my closet for decoration and climbing on. And I pulled the log down to reposition it, and a skin was attached. And I was like, I didn't know he was shedding. So he did a fresh shed when I let him out. And so here's his shed. Manny always sheds complete full sheds. All my snakes shed, so I'm doing something right. Humidity is good, but let me just show you Manny's. Of course, the shed skin is always longer than the actual snake because it's flexible, but such a gorgeous skin, a shed. If you can see that from tip to tail, perfect shed. And it was a little surprise, a little gift. I always love to see when my snakes shed, and they shed well, and that just means they're doing well, they're healthy. And Manny was just such a great snake. I was just like, man, I am so blessed to have this little creature. And my other two, Leo, my hypoboa, is great too. Fortunately, these are not biters at all. Other than circumstance. I got my hat turned around backwards so I don't have any massive cast across my face or, anything that upsets the snakes. Probably better to leave the hat off. But I have him out. He's really enjoying the warmth of the sun. And I just wanted to make the video to show you my sweet, sweet Manny, my Nicaraguan Boa. Wonderful snake, and he is really putting on some girth and some muscle. His larger part of his body. An amazing, amazing snake. One of my best snakes that I've ever owned is this guy right here. Very, very extremely docile, and is getting better with me, touching his head. He used to, jerk his head, if I touched him, but he's doing really, really good with that. And such a beautiful snake. Nicaraguan Boas, great snake. But you can see there he is growing quite a bit. When I got him, he's only about that long. And now he's not going to let me stretch my hands out, but probably about 4 feet, maybe a little over, I'm guessing. But really, really cool. So if you have a Nicaraguan boa, or you want to get one, or a certain boa species, just hit me up. Let me know, if you have a good experience, or your snake's really docile, or if it's not docile. Or if you're getting some other snake, another boa, or, a python, anaconda, anything like that, or a corn snake, just chime in and you can tell me what you have and let me know your experience. But I'm having a really good time with my 3 boas. And my newest leopard boa, Carmela, is taming down too. And that's to be expected, but was a little slower to tame down than Manny and Leo. And but that's my video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found it interesting, and if you did, or informative in any way, shoot me a like, and I would definitely appreciate it. Okay? Have a great day. See you on my next video. Bye-bye. He's such a sweet boy. Oh, he's so great.